Welcome to Myawaddy. I was just talking to a local guy here, asking him, how do you pronounce the name of this town? Because a lot of people say it as Myawaddy. But he told me, no, you do pronounce the D's, sort of like Myawaddy. But when people speak really fast, they say Myawaddy, and it comes out as Myawaddy instead of Myawaddy. I was going to turn left on this street because the central pagoda in Myawaddy is sort of in this direction down this street. This is actually Bojok Road, actually. Every city in Myanmar seems to have a Bojok street. But when I got here, I looked to my right and I saw this large tree at the end of the street. There's the tree there. And I thought I would head in that direction and see what's going on over there. What makes this town so interesting, of course, is the fact that it's a border town. And I was looking at Google Maps the other day, and the border between Thailand and Myanmar basically runs through the center of a river here. So essentially a river separates the two countries. But when I was looking at the map, I noticed that the border line doesn't follow the river perfectly. It follows the center of the river, and then at one point it ducks inland and carves a loop out of the landmass. So essentially, now that I'm walking down this street towards the river, I'm in Myanmar, but at some point I'm technically going to reach the border with Thailand. So I could just take one step over the street and I'll be in Thailand, technically. And I'm just curious what that looks like. So I thought I'd walk in this direction and see what happens when I hit the border with Thailand, on the land. And there are just so many interesting things going on the streets here that doesn't matter where you go, you're always going to find interesting things. Also, from what I read online, I learned that Myawaddy is, I think, the largest trading route into Thailand. So it's the largest trading route between Thailand and Myanmar. And you can see that everywhere, of course. This is a city based on transportation. There's people moving through here constantly, going to different places, so there's transportation everywhere. A lot of people make their living from transportation. And at the same time, when you go into the shops here, you find all kinds of consumer goods that you wouldn't normally find in Myanmar. Just like simple snacks and drinks that I remember seeing in Thailand. And you don't generally see them in Myanmar, but when you go into the stores here, there's like stacks of things, right to the ceiling. And I noticed that the prices for these things are quite a bit higher than local products. So maybe all these goods coming in from Thailand, whether, legally or illegally, are kind of considered luxury goods because you can't normally get them here. So maybe people from Myanmar who pass through, stock up on these luxury goods and then bring them into the country. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's interesting that way. I've been following maps.me on my phone, and it brought me to this small neighborhood street. And according to the map, if I head down this way, I'll actually reach the border with Thailand. And the road continues on the other side of the border and goes down to the river. So I'm just curious, you get to the end of this street, are you actually going to see a fence of some kind? Or is it just completely wide open? Yeah, that'll be kind of cool. I mentioned finding so many interesting things everywhere you go. Look at this beast. I have no idea what this truck started out as in its life, what it would have been at the very beginning, but over the years, it's been completely transformed. And you've got this wooden bench and a steering wheel and a stick shift, gas gauge, and that's about it. Yeah, very cool. And there's an interesting shop across the street here. Looks like second-hand goods. I think it would have to be, right? Whole bunch of canes, fishing rods, and badminton rackets. you know, children's tricycles and toys, shoes. Hello, how are you? Wow, look at this. It's like kind of like a Goodwill back in Canada. All these old cameras. PowerShot A70. I had one of the early PowerShot A models just like that one a few years ago. Old Sony there. And outside they have all this chairs, clothing. One of the problems I always run into as the type of tourist I am is that I could easily spend a month in a town like Myawaddy. I could just hang out here and just go for walks down these streets, and I would find that very interesting. So it's a challenge for me to keep moving and go to more places because, you know, as I said, I could just stay here for a month and just enjoy the atmosphere here. So I crossed over the street there, and as far as I know, I'm technically inside Thailand right now, because according to the maps, the border with Thailand runs right where I'm standing. So I just stepped over into Thailand, and the river is up ahead of me. And I suspect, since this road gives such a nice access to the river, you'd see a lot of like illegal crossings from Myanmar into Thailand, you know? Oh, this is kind of interesting. On my left, looks like there's a large fenced-in market complex. Maybe it's still under construction. Doesn't seem to be that used. Oh, there's a little puppy dog. And right ahead of me there is the river. So I'm wondering if someone will stop me and say, hey, you know, you can't be here, this is Thailand. But again, that's just according to the map.
Hello.
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 Hello, how are you? Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Hello.
So here's the river. And over here, I guess we're in some sort of no man's land between Thailand and Myanmar. And then this boat is ferrying people back and forth, but they don't have to worry about visas or entrance stamps or passports. But that was kind of interesting. Just looking at the river there, it seemed to be fine, but the longer I stood there, you could tell people didn't like it that I was there. And a couple of men came up to me and sort of pointed at my GoPro and said, you know, no, you can't take any video here, put your camera away. And I did that, and then they basically told me to go away. One man, he looked very grim and very serious. He came up to me with a smartphone, and he framed up a picture of me, you know, take a picture of me, who I am. And he wasn't in uniform or anything, but he wasn't responding to any of my friendly hellos or anything. So I think he was recording a foreigner visiting a, you know, border area with the country, sending it to someone or keeping a record of it. I don't know. And this street is kind of interesting because when you look at it on Google Maps, part of it is inside Myanmar, but then it makes a small turn, and at that corner it dips down into Thailand, then makes another turn, and then it comes back up into Myanmar again. So as you walk down this street, you're in Myanmar, then you go into Thailand, then you go back into Myanmar again. Found another small road heading down to the river. There doesn't seem to be very much activity down here. Oh yeah, the river is a lot narrower here. And just over there around the bend, that's where all the people were crossing by boat. And of course my camera made them a little bit nervous. There's another part of the river. And again, just from looking at the map, the border between the two countries eventually joins up with the river again, goes down the river, and then the line cuts over onto the other side of the river. So just as this loop of land on this side is technically part of Thailand, there's a loop here where a circle of land on the other side of the river actually belongs to Myanmar. I remember reading about something like this a long time ago, and a geographical area of one country that's inside another country, like fully enclosed by that country, is called an enclave. And the study of enclaves around the world is really quite fascinating. I don't know whether these technically qualify as enclaves. I don't think they do, because they're not fully enclosed by the other country. They're still attached to their original country. But they're similar in that you have to cross a river, and then there's like a loop of land belonging to this country, you know, on the other side. It's really quite interesting when you take a look at it. And I always find Riversides interesting in any country in the world that I've been to. The Riverside always tends to get used as a garbage dump. And that's just because it has sort of a out of sight, out of mind quality, I think. You know, you can walk up to this edge, throw your garbage down, and then it falls down the edge. And then as far as you're concerned, it's gone, you know. It just becomes you can't see it anymore. So it really doesn't exist. Though technically it's the worst thing you can do, because you're dumping all your garbage right into a river system. And yet there's something about human psychology makes us think if we can't see it anymore, it doesn't exist. You know, it's just sort of like this. I walk away from the river a little bit, and then there's the edge, and you just can't see the garbage anymore. So if you just toss it over the edge, can't see it, and you've taken care of your garbage. I'm still following the small roads that go alongside the river. I just wanted to reach the point where we get that enclave that extends into Thailand. Just curious what it looks like, if there's anything special about it. Yeah, at every point along this road, there's a small road that just heads down to the riverbank, which is just over there on the other side of that ridge. It looks like I'm coming up on some kind of a barrier. Maybe there's another little creek or something. Might have to go inland a bit more in order to get around this. Let's see what's up there. It's okay, boys. That is quite the crowd of guard dogs. Look at the size of that one there. I don't know what breed it is. It's okay. See ya. It's funny, I was just walking down this little street, and there was a pack of, I don't know, 8 or 9 local, you know, dogs here, wild dogs. And I was just about to say that they're all kind of relaxed, you know. They can tell I don't belong here, but most of the dogs just ignore me. They keep sleeping. And right after I was thinking that, I get to that house, and they have 3 of the biggest dogs I've ever seen guarding the interior. They actually look friendly, though I wouldn't want to climb over that gate without bringing them a couple of steaks first, you know. Feed them well before I try to climb over that gate. So where those big dogs were, my path was blocked. There was no way to get from there, you know, further along the river. So I'm just working my way back up through some streets, and then I can cut over. As I said, I just wanted to see the enclave of Myanmar that sticks out into Thailand. Just curious what that looks like. And then we'll head on to some more parts of the city for some sightseeing. It's not as easy to get around that barrier as I thought. I guess it's some kind of a low cliff or a hill there, and every road is being blocked by that so far. Lots of interesting little houses back through here. I think I have to head up to a main road in order to, swing around that barrier. Got some goats here. Hey, goaty goat goat. Oh, down there too. Looks like you can't really get through there. You're hitting a row of houses. You have to climb up through someone's yards to get through, I think. So I've got to turn back this way. Seen a lot of these small wooden houses up on kind of a cement base, cement foundations. It's really kind of cool. A little cinder block house here. I'd like to learn more about this border. I was reading a little bit the other day, and someone told me this as well, and then I kind of went looking to confirm the information that people from Myanmar are allowed to cross over into Thailand, into Mae Sot, but they can only get a 7-day permit to do that. I'm not sure whether you call it a visa or what you'd call it, but they told me they can get 7 days to get over there, and that's the maximum. But again, my informant was telling me that most people head off in that direction for 7 days, and then they just don't come back. They cross the border on their 7-day permit, and then they try to find a job in Thailand or something like that. Do that for as long as they can, without getting caught. And then when they get deported back to Thailand, or back to Myanmar, then they might just try to get another one of those 7-day permits to go across. But in the real world terms, I'm not really sure how that works out. It looks like I found my place where I can cut through this barrier. The street heads up to another main street, turns back down towards the river. Let's see where it leads. So it's really fascinating. This is the road behind me that I was just pointing out, where I can get past this barrier and head down towards the river. And according to Google Maps, the second I reach that road up there and turn right at that corner, you're stepping back into Thailand. Then you follow that road down into this Thailand enclave. And at the end where it turns left, as soon as it turns left, you're stepping back into Myanmar. And then across the river at that point is the enclave that goes into Thailand. So that's kind of cool. Whoa. These huge trees that I've been seeing in this area, I just noticed the one right behind me. It's practically growing right through a house. So there's the tree up there, and then the trunk of it is holding up the roof of this house. That's very cool. Hi. Hi. Do you have a top? Yeah. Can I see? Show me how it's done. So I think the idea is to put it in the circle. Oh, that didn't work. So I freaked out those little boys a little bit. They stopped playing when I showed up. But they're playing some kind of a top game, you know, where they spin the tops, and I think they have to knock each other out of that circle, something like that. Really like local neighborhoods like this, just because they have so many trees still in place. These big ones, you can see them all overhanging the street. Gives a lot of shade, so it's nice and cool in here, which is a nice change. Just came across this house being built all out of wood, you know, wood frame. Oh, that's very cool. I can even smell the wood from here. Just has that nice fresh cut wood smell. Again, according to Google Maps, technically they're building their house. Hello, Minglaba. Yeah, so technically they're building their house inside Thailand. Oh, it looks like I've reached the point where the road turns back into Myanmar, right at this corner. Hello. So down there is the river, and right now I'm in Thailand, but as soon as I walk across this corner, now I'm back in Myanmar. And this is where the Myanmar enclave begins, on the other side of the river. So technically, if you went across the river down here, you would still be inside Myanmar. Of course, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because I don't think opening up Google Maps and showing the local police, you know, that technically you're still inside Myanmar is going to do you much good if they stop you, because I'm sure that for all practical purposes, the river is still considered largely the border, you know, regardless of what that squiggly line says. Oh, I don't know if I can follow this road and get out of this area or not. I'll have to see. Okay, it looks like that answer is no. This is a dead end, and there's no way to get any further. Oh, turn around and go back. See where we can go. Oh. Well, I thought there was a road down here, and I guess it's more like a path following alongside the Riverside garbage dump, and a lot of wild dogs. And that's the river over there, just on my right. And we've got a gate up here, but I don't know what that gate means, whether I can go through it or not. Hello, Minglava. Yeah, this is very strange. I don't know what this fence could mean, but everyone seems to be going back and forth through it freely. So we'll see where it leads. As far as I know, again, according to Google Maps, I'm inside Myanmar, technically. I think this fence is just to kind of block off this property at night or something. Oh, and here we are once more, right back at the river. And over there is Thailand. This is kind of what I've been looking for all along, you know, just a place where you can walk along the river without any feeling like you're breaking the law. There's a lot of people out and about here. Everybody's been very friendly, saying Ming Laba, and you can tell that people are really interested in talking to me. One man did stop in a car with his family. He spoke a little bit of English. Turned out he was a minister, Christian minister in a local church here. But he was the only person so far I've been able to chat with. But, well, got a few nice gardens along the river here too. Yeah, just right here, nice little vegetable garden. And from my map, I don't think there's an easy way to go this way and then out of this area. I kind of have to backtrack again to head back into the city. I will walk along here, see where it goes. Ah, it looks like this is another spot where they do a lot of the illegal crossings. There's a little shelter on one side and a shelter on this side too. Hello, Ming Lava. And those big boats down at the river, of course, that's how people would cross. And you see some men out there fishing in the river. So my walk along the river is almost over. Just came down here to one more of these informal border crossings. Yeah, I don't know if I can technically call them illegal border crossings. I mean, they're certainly right out in the open. You know, nobody's worried about them. These people coming across right now, they're doing so in the middle of the day. Just looks like a normal mother, you know, husband and wife, children, you know, just a family coming across. And they actually have quite a few boats here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about 15 of these boats to go across this tiny river. But it probably gets a lot higher during the rainy season. Right now it's pretty dry. And there they are. It's a very easy way to cross from one country to another. No formalities at all. Wonder what would happen though if I went down there and tried to get on the boat. I'm sure they wouldn't let me. That guy would not want to take me across. All right, that's the end of my walk along the river. Time to head back into the city, I think. There are always so many interesting things, and I never understand them. At this little shop, I just found this board with like a checkerboard pattern, and then it has all these green pieces of paper on them. And I'm guessing it is some kind of a contest. You can buy one of these pieces of paper, pull it off, and then maybe you win a prize or something like that. You've got, you know, kettle and some soap and rice and different things on there. So no idea, some kind of a prize-winning thing, I guess.